Hey guys, it's Ryan here and welcome to another episode of Blockchain Markets. Today I'm really excited because I'm going to talk about Morpheus.Network, which is a project that is aiming to disrupt a huge industry, which is basically the global trade industry. So everything of all exports and imports. That's a very inefficient industry at the moment. So then we're going to dive into this in a second. So let's start. So Morpheus.Network. Now, before we start, as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video, so that way you help this channel to grow and more people can know about cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. Also, this is, as always, no financial advice. Just do your own research. I'm just a simple guy doing my own research and sharing it with you guys. So I think the best way to understand Morpheus.Network is to understand where it came from and the problem it solves. It's in the logistics space, and then you might think there are other coins or other projects in that sphere, like Walton, for example. But it's actually a different project, and I'm going to explain why. So this project started because the CEO has a company in global logistics, and then he does imports stuff from China, and then he sells them, I think, in North America, in Canada, where he's based. So then he realized in his 15 years experience in the industry that there are many inefficiencies in the way of doing business internationally. So, for example, you think, let's say you are an e-commerce site and then you're selling 100 different products. So there's no way you can, as if you are a small company still and you're trying to grow, even if you're a bigger company, you need to have a lot of people, because there's no way you can keep track of the when the levels of inventory are low. So you order stuff in time to your suppliers in China, and then if that doesn't happen, if you don't order on time, then every shipment will take roughly about a month, maybe 2 months to get to you. And then what's going to happen is that if you don't order the stuff on time to your supplier, then you have those 2 months with nothing to sell. So then it's money that you lost, that you could have earned, that you're not making now. So that's pretty big. So then basically what Morpheus.Network is doing, it's a platform using blockchain technology where you can automate those systems using smart contracts. So it's basically an if this, then that system. That's basically what a smart contract is. And what they're doing is that they're applying the concept of smart contracts to these international trades. So, for example, that's one of the use cases, what I said. So you have your international supplier, and you can automate the whole process without having to have someone else in your team looking at it, and without having to spend your own time into looking that the orders have been placed at the right moment, because otherwise you run out of inventory. Now that's a huge problem, and then this is not gonna by automating the whole system, then you need less people to look into that. So you also have a financial benefit for the company in that way, but also you make sure that everything is it's ordered on time. And since those things, since those contracts with your suppliers are done way before, then they can apply in the future. So what I mean is that you don't need to talk to the suppliers every single time your levels of inventory go down, because then a trigger could be that could trigger a notification for them. So then they already know that according to that specific contract that you had way before that you put in the smart contract. So you by then you specify the prices for how much you would buy that product, how long it would take to send. So then all those things were put in that initial contract, and then you don't have to go through it every single time. So then that could be run in a smart contract, which is what Morpheus.Network is trying to do. So then you basically automate the whole system. Of course, in that process of importing something from China or from another country, there's much more people involved and much more companies involved in that process. Not only the manufacturer, there's also the distributor. There's also customs in between. There's also the shipping company. There are many companies in between, and a lot of paperwork that could be automated. And this is what Morpheus.Network. This is the core of what Morpheus.Network is trying to do. It's a platform where you can use this automation system, so smart contracts, to, as the name says, automate your whole logistics. And the part that is also very interesting is payments. That's one big part of payments, and then this is another big pain that people that deal in international trading have. So let's say I'm the same importer. Let's say I'm in the UK, and I'm importing something from China for my business to sell. So then we have the same problem, the first problem that I already said, but we have also another problem, which is the payments. So I have to pay my supplier on time, of course, but I have to pay in if I'm in the UK in pounds sterling. Then my supplier in China will say, like, usually, well, we would like you to pay us in dollars. So then I would have to change my pounds into dollars, and then what he would do in China, he would exchange his dollars for the local yuan. So in between, there is centralization, there is the banks, and that's a big thing. So then roughly the whole that whole process costs 1 trillion, and it's amazing. It's so 1 trillion is lost in only inefficiencies because of international payments. Now with cryptocurrencies we can solve that problem. So then this is another part that is really exciting about this platform, is that they, as they said, it says here, so it's a platform with an integrated cryptocurrency payment system utilizing blockchain technology. So it has on the one hand, that part of using smart contracts to automate the whole logistics and international trade, and it has also the payments that you can do within the platform. So you don't have to go through any bank to send your payment for your supplier and the supplier, and so that's one thing. You don't have to do that. It doesn't take that time. So then the supplier gets the money like this immediately, and the whole process of starting the shipment is much faster, of course. So then there is another important thing that also Morpheus.Network has done a very important partnership, which we're going to go through here. They've done two very important partnerships. One that we're going to talk about later, which is with Winjit, which is for the development, and the other one that they have done is with Swift. If you don't know what Swift is, if you have done an international transfer from one bank account to another, you'll see that they always ask for this Swift number. So that's the way they know on the other side that you actually pay. So let's go into this thing that is really crucial one, and I think it's really important in this platform. So Swift, integrating the Morpheus.Network platform with the Microsoft Dynamics, which is an ERP system, and Swift to enable our international payment processing system is an essential step in automating any supply chain. So payments are automated as an objective in a smart contract and initiated with no additional fees. That's important, no additional fees, through the Morpheus network, and to be received in any currency globally to over, and this is also very important, more than 1,600 banks. 1,675 banks. That's the power of SWIFT. SWIFT, as the numbers say here, with SWIFT, they're able to reach immediately 213 countries and more than 1,600 banks all over the world. So since day one, Morpheus.Network will be able to leverage that network also of SWIFT. And this is why it's so important, because you might think like, yeah, but if Morpheus will have their own coin, so why do we need SWIFT? Why are we talking about centralized world? Why are we talking about banks? Well, you have to think of that in this situation. So you're an importer and you buy your stuff from China, from Turkey, let's say from the UK, whatever, South America, and your supplier, and then you say to your supplier, okay, now I'm going to pay you with the Morpheus token. Now, what do you think that guy is going to say in that factory in China that doesn't even know Bitcoin exists? Do you think he's going to be happy about it? Do you think he's going to accept it? I don't think so. I did, at least not at the very beginning. So then to start, and I think it's a clever move of Morpheus.Network, it's to leverage SWIFT. So then you can pay to your supplier and he'll receive his money in the local currency in his bank account. So he'll never see that there is any cryptocurrency here. He'll never see that there is any blockchain activity. He'll just use a platform, which is Morpheus.Network, that just works for him because it makes things simpler and just automized. And then he gets orders, automated orders when his client is running out of inventory and other things. So that's also the big part. Why they're using SWIFT is to scale from the very beginning, which is really clever. And of course, there might be other things that we're going to talk about later. By the way, I'm doing an interview with the CEO of Morpheus.Network soon. Sorry. So then I'm going to ask him exactly then about the token. What are the benefits of using the token in the platform? When you can, if that token is later on being exchanged for a local currency, and how does that work in detail in the platform. Now let's go briefly through the team. So here they list all the companies. Oh, I mentioned before that I would talk about Wingit. You can check in on their website. They have a specific article about that. But basically, Wingit is a company that has a lot of experience in implementation of blockchain projects, and they are the technical partner of Morpheus. If I understand well from what I read on the white paper and on the website, it's like they have externalized the development to Wingit, which on the one hand is good because to start you don't want to have if you know a software company, it makes sense to start with a company that is actually a software or a development company. So that helps you to start from the very beginning, and then that's something we can discuss later with the CEO and during the interview, if they're planning in the future to have their own internal team, or if they're planning to have the development of the platform outsourced in the long term. But going back to the team, so let's move this on the other side to the other side. So Danny Feinberger is he has more than 15 years experience in global trade. He has his own business in global trade, and then he identified the problem, and he created the solution basically for his problem, which he thinks it's a problem that many others will have, which is an interesting concept. And I think it's the best use case when you solve your own problem. That's something that we saw also with in the interview that I did with Pavel Baines, with the CEO of Brazil. And I think it's a very good sign, because the best projects in my view are projects that start as a solution to your own problems. As I said before, Bluecell had the same, and other projects that I've covered as well had the same approach, which is solving your own problem. Now you can go to the website. Of course, I'm not going to go much more into details on the team. You can check the specific bios of each of the members of the team, but it's basically a very robust team with a lot of experience in international trade, and they have also a very known person in the team, which is a great for all investors that want to get into this project, which is and he's Roger Crook. He was the head of global logistics, the CEO of DHL. We all know how big DHL is. It's as big as FedEx and UPS, huge logistics company. So then, of course, it's a massive acquisition to the team. It's a great add to the team. They cover also marketing, and here it goes more through the technical members of the team. And as I said, you can go through it at your own pace. Now let's cover the roadmap. So we are basically now here in April, and at this phase they're preparing to launch the token sale, which will happen in 1 day from now. So tomorrow it would close. What they're planning to do for the coming months is basically expanding the team. So they want to further expand the core team, growing the development and product teams with expertise. Yes, so at the beginning it makes sense, of course, to grow the development team, because you want to have a very robust platform before you roll out to an alpha version and a beta later, and then maybe an open beta. So let's see what are they gonna do. So they're gonna, as I said here, they're gonna expand mainly the core tech team and product team, and in July, so in summer this year, they're gonna do simulated global supply chain document generation. So they're gonna do testing of the platform. They're gonna continue with that with a live test network in September, and then by Q4 they will release the platform now to early adopters. Which is interesting in this case, is that these early adopters won't use just a fake platform or a not finished platform. No, what is important here to understand is that these early adopters will be able to test a real a working product, not an MVP. It's just it would be a working product. By the way, they already have an MVP in. If you can go to the website, and then you can see a video which is at the top, then you're able to go through a 14 minutes video where the CEO shows the whole MVP, which is always a great signal. It's not a white paper. It's not a white paper project. It is a real thing. I mean, they do have a platform, and they're planning in November to get the first early adopters. And they're planning to to have the real launch by the first quarter of 2019. I know that a lot of you guys might be thinking that in a crypto world, this is a very long time. We're talking about almost a year from now to hear from an open launch, which, in my opinion, it is quite a long roadmap. Other than this, maybe there are some technical limitations in between, but I wonder also why they cannot launch a little bit earlier. That would be also something interesting to discuss with their CEO. And also in 2019, what I've checked the roadmap, but it's not that clear in terms of timing. So it just says 2019, which could be at the beginning or at the end. We could be talking about 1 year or 2 years. And 1 month in crypto is a huge amount of time. So that's something also worth considering, that until that the real launch will be in first quarter 2019, and then somewhere in 2019 more things will occur. That's not clear exactly when. So now moving forward, now let's get to the token sale for everybody that wants to go and see if this is a good opportunity for sale, for buying. As I always say, this is not a financial advice. This is only my own research. Let's go to the token economics. So so basically the price per token will be $0.5, and let's try to find the whole amount of tokens. So the minimum contribution for this token sale will be 0.1 Ether. This, by the way, it's an ICO that will run on Ethereum. It will be an ERC20 token. The minimum contribution is 0.1 Ether, and the maximum contribution per investor for the first 24 hours of the pre-sale is 360 Ether. Now, after the 24 hours, the maximum will move up to 540 Ether for 24 hours. Now let's see what will happen when they're unsold. Are they going to burn them or not? In the event that there are any unsold tokens after the token sale pool, all of those tokens will be burned. Okay, that's good. And the other important thing when you buy a token, you want to know how long do you have to wait until you get that token. And then the other thing, which it doesn't say here because they cannot say it already, is when it will hit the target. Now, if you want to know more about how to avoid that waiting time with how decentralized exchanges help you avoiding that month period, usually it's a month, so you can have short-term liquidity. You can follow. You can check my video on Switcher, which is a decentralized exchange that is now for Net5 tokens, but it will also include in the short term ERC20s. Now let's continue. So when distribution of the Morph tokens will take place 28 days after the end of the token sale. It's pretty long. I don't know why it takes that long. You have to wait a whole month before you can get your tokens, and then after that you have to wait until it hits the first exchange. Something else that I would like to find here, which is rather difficult to find, is what is the total supply, and how much are they planning to release as of that supply? How much are they gonna give for people? So how much will be the available supply, and how much will be the total supply? Because with that you can calculate how much will be the market cap. Now, Now, quickly looking at this, I cannot easily find it. So that's another question I can tweet to the team, or we can get it also during the interview with their CEO. So now, what's my conclusion? I think that Morpheus.Network offers a problem, or offers a solution to a problem that is quite big in the international logistics or international trade, which is that is full with inefficiencies. Inefficiencies in terms of paperwork. There's a lot of double work that happens. There's a lot of payments and fees on those international trades that are inefficient, that take long and are too expensive. There are inefficiencies in terms of planning your inventories and being able to tell your suppliers on time in a digitalized and automated system when they can send you the stuff. So there's a lot of different angles that this project is trying to tackle, which is very ambitious, and it's also very interesting because of the size of the global trade. And I think that this problem is quite spread among business people in this space, in international trade, so exporters and importers. Now, that's one part. The team is very, very strong. They have also someone that is well, they have the founders come from the industry, so they understand every corner of it. They have been intelligent enough also and savvy enough to add the former CEO of DHL, which is a huge logistics company. He's part of the team now, and they've done a very good partnership with Swift to get to much more to be able to use the the network of banks for international payments, and to be able to accept payments in more than 250 countries. They've also done an interesting and clever move with regards to development. They've done a partnership with Wingin, which is a company that has a lot of experience in other blockchain projects. Now, when it comes to the token economics, it's not clear yet how much is the total supply, how much will be the available supply, and how did they come to that specific price of $0.5 per token. If you want to know exactly how much or how the token is being used, you can go into the FAQ section of the website. And as an overall project, I'm positive, and I think in the short term as well, and mainly in the long term. In the short term, I'm positive, between medium and high, and in the long term, I'm highly positive because as I said, they solve a real big problem. Now, in the short term, why am I not that bullish? Because we don't know how the market is going to be when it hits the first exchanges. It's going to take a long time for the token to be distributed, 28 days, and it's not clear when it's going to hit the markets. So then we don't know how it's going to be the market at that moment. If it's a bullish market, then it might go up very fastly. If not, it might stay low for a while. But eventually, I think it's a token that will be that has a real utility in the platform, and if you haven't, so you can get the next videos, and you can get also the interview with the CEO of Morpheus.Network, and also share this video so other people can know about it and like it. So also you help me in showing these videos to other people that don't know about my channel. So thank you very much for staying until the end, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.